Natural gas is a clean fossil fuel. No, it's not a prologue to Professor Howard's seminar here. It's next week at Cornell, reusing the slide. So it is true. You burn natural gas, it produces less carbon dioxide, far less carbon dioxide, than burning an energy equivalent amount of coal or oil. That's good. Of all the fossil fuels, it burns the cleanest. So there's a fact, there's truth at the heart of that myth. Natural gas is a clean fossil fuel. But it doesn't answer the whole question. From a life cycle point of view, including not only carbon dioxide, but methane, which is a much more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, what's the big picture? So here's a graph that you all should have posted on your refrigerators. Year, parts per million of carbon dioxide in the Earth atmosphere. You'll notice that this black line says it continues to increase at about 3 parts per million every year. We're at roughly 390 parts per million now. Most reputable scientists say that if we ever get to 450 parts per million, from the point of view of global climate change, we have reached a tipping point, beyond which it will be virtually impossible for us to reverse the negative effects on global climate. If we're at 390 and 450 is a tipping point and 3 parts per million, we got 30 years to decrease the rate of increase and to decrease the total amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. You burn natural gas, you put carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, just like burning coal or oil. More importantly, here's a graph that shows the concentration of methane in the Earth's atmosphere from the year 1000 all the way up to the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, and then today. If we take into account both methane emissions and carbon dioxide from burning, my colleagues at Cornell have estimated that we get this sort of picture. This is the gram equivalence of carbon dioxide. You convert methane into carbon dioxide in terms of its heating effect, and that's the vertical axis. The horizontal axis compares shale gas using unconventional means, conventional gas, coal, and oil. All you got to look at is this number, this number, this number, and this number, or that would be the extreme. If you want to look at the best case scenario, you look at this number and you see that producing, burning, transporting natural gas using unconventional methods is dirtier than coal or oil, in our opinion. So the myth is natural gas is a clean fossil fuel. Yeah, it produces less carbon dioxide. But what does it do for climate change? It's worse than burning coal or oil. That's our interpretation of the truth. So we're exacerbating global climate change. Summarizing quickly, why is this form of unconventional gas development a higher risk to human health? Much higher well density, many wells per square mile, much more industrial development over relatively large areas like all of upstate New York, heavy equipment operating 370, 165. In other words, the gas industry is asking all of us to occupy their industrial zone. Zoning doesn't help. There's no roof on the plant. There's no fence surrounding the plant. We're in it. We must co-live with them while they develop our area. Requires much more higher volumes of fracking fluid, millions of gallons per well, much higher volumes of waste fluids, norms, VOCs, frac fluid chemicals, and finally produces higher volumes of fugitive emissions of methane. So what? As the number of wells and volumes of waste increase, the probability of accidental release of hazardous materials into the air and groundwater increases. That's human. We're talking about not natural processes, but man-made processes. The cumulative effects on air and water and health from these and from purposeful emissions into the atmosphere and releases into groundwater are unknown. We have not yet studied through DEC's SGEIS the long-term health impacts or environmental impacts of shale gas development because it hasn't been going on very long. Increased production, processing, storage, transportation, and burning of natural gas and its liquid companions increases emission of global greenhouse gases. So there, in a very quick, hopefully on-time nutshell, are my answers to 4 of the largest myths. They're not the only myths that the industry will come and tell you about, but now you have a little bit more understanding, and I'm looking forward to questions and answers later so we can go into some depth on some of these things. Thank you very much for your attention. Looking forward to working with you.